Welcome to episode 3 of Little Did You Know Travel, 2 hops to Chicago. From Dulles to Boston? Hey there, thanks for traveling with me today. Today we are heading to Chicago with a little bit of a hop. And guess what? I did it over Easter weekend. I'll give you a little backstory here. So I had these United Airlines travel vouchers that were getting ready to expire. It's from when COVID hit, I had some flights. They got, obviously I canceled those trips and I got money back and I spent some of them. So I had about $550 left over and it was getting ready to expire. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to book a round trip ticket to Chicago in first class on United from somewhere on the East Coast, either Washington, Dulles, BWI, or Reagan. And I figured if I do it over Easter weekend, it could be potentially busy. And I had nothing better to do. I wasn't going to Chicago for any reason, just to burn these certificates. So I was like, well, maybe I can voluntarily take a bump on a flight and end up making more credits back. And that's exactly what happened. So I booked this flight. It was from Dulles to Chicago with direct flight both directions. About a day before, when I was checking in for the flight, I was told that the flight from Dulles, Washington Dulles, to Chicago was oversold, and if I wanted to make an offer for a bump. Now, this process was started after United Airlines dragged this poor bastard off a plane.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! No! My guys, my God! What are you doing? No, this is wrong. Oh my God! Look at what you did to him! Oh my God!
And the offers that they were given, so United on their app when you check in will give you some predetermined options, either a cash or mile thing. Always take the cash. And when I say cash, it is airline vouchers. I believe it was like $150, $250, $350. And then it has the option to make a bid. I made a bid for $750. And guess what? It worked. So I took $750 in travel vouchers to connect through Boston to get to Chicago. So from Washington Dulles to Boston, and then Boston to Chicago. Because of this, my departure time also delayed, so it gave me the opportunity to walk around Washington Dulles Airport and give you a little tour, if you haven't been there in a while or ever, of some of the lounges that are available, some of the lounges that were closed due to COVID, and just some of the things United Airlines has done post-COVID, like shut down customer service centers, like where a real human is, and have you scan a QR code and you talk to someone on your phone. We'll look at all that, and then we'll fly up to Boston, and then we'll end up in Chicago. Little stop in Boston, we'll take a look at the United Club as well. So all of that's coming up on this episode of Little Did You Know Travel. All right, so just made it through security, and man, it was probably the fastest security I've ever made it through, seriously. It was less than 5 minutes. Yeah, 5 minutes. And used my Clear membership and TSA pre-check, and the airport's basically dead. Now we're taking the train over to the B gates, and over at the B gates is a bunch of lounges that I have access to with either Star Alliance membership or Priority Pass membership. So we're going to take a look at those lounge options, including the Turkish Airlines Lounge, Lufthansa Lounge, Air France, British Airways, and a few others. We'll see what's open and we have access to. And we're heading to Chicago first. Well, no, we're heading to Boston first because of that flight change, and yeah, I got a while to wait, so we'll have plenty of time to navigate and look around Dulles Airport and see how things are post-COVID. We're almost to the B gates. I love this little train thing, and it's right after security you board it, and they used to have those old people movers. This thing's a lot better and get you to where you need to go a lot quicker. So we're almost at B. Once we get there, we'll take a look around. Just as you come off the escalators from the train, if you look up there, that's the British Airways Lounge. Now, I checked my Priority Pass app. I have a Priority Pass membership, part of my American Express Platinum card. It said this lounge was operating and opened up at 8 a.m. on this particular day, and Priority Pass members were accepted. Of course, as I approached the lounge, to the elevator, I was greeted with a sign saying, "Hey, we're not accepting Priority Pass members. Oh, and by the way, we do not open until 3 p.m." So the Priority Pass app was very wrong in this situation. So shame on them and British Airways for being so lame. So Concourse B is mostly served by international carriers, flights more in the afternoon, and some airlines that don't have a big presence at Dulles, like Southwest, Alaska, and a few others. The only reason I took the train to Concourse B, my flight doesn't fly out of here, is because I know there is lounges available for Star Alliance Gold members and for Priority Pass members. So that's why I came over here to check out Concourse B on this 8 a.m. on a Saturday. And for those of you who don't know, lounge access in the United States is very complicated. I have one of the highest statuses with United Airlines. I also have flown over 1 million miles with them. But believe it or not, with a domestic trip within the United States, even flying in first class, I do not have access to the United Club because US-based airlines like to sell access to these. That's why they're called a club. So there's a subscription or a membership. So there is a loophole with my United status. I get a thing through the Star Alliance called Star Alliance Gold, and I can access partner airline lounges. And here at Dulles, there is a Lufthansa Lounge and a Turkish Airlines lounge that will allow me access, even flying economy class domestically on United Airlines because of that Star Alliance Gold status. So just to be clear, the British Airways Lounge is not part of Star Alliance's network. British Airways isn't in the Star Alliance. They're in a different alliance called One World. It would work the same if you're an American Airlines passenger and you had status with One World. You could access that British Airways Lounge on a domestic economy flight. So this yellow wall up here is the Lufthansa Lounge. Now, I knew ahead of time this one was going to be closed. It has special hours due to COVID. Unfortunately, early in the day, it's not open. There's 2 lounges in there, the Senator Lounge, which is their higher lounge, and their business class lounge. Star Alliance Gold members get access to Senator, and this lounge does serve other Star Alliance members that fly out of Concourse B. For example, Austrian Airlines, Lufthansa, obviously, TAP Portugal recently started a nonstop to Lisbon, Portugal, and Avianca. And you have a bunch of them. Scandinavian Airlines, Ethiopian Airlines, South African Airways, Brussels, and Turkish Airlines. And that's where we're heading next, the Turkish Airlines Lounge, which is also part of Star Alliance. So this is just a stock photo of the lounge. But it was a morning spread, so they had some pastries, coffee, water, soft drinks. They did have, like, I guess you would call it a yogurt bar with different yogurt toppings there, fruit, and some type of Turkish egg thing. I didn't go there. That doesn't look like a good idea before a flight. But a nice spacious lounge. Right now it was serving Ethiopian Airlines. There is a bar in the back room. It looked pretty vacant, so I wasn't sure if it was open early in the day. But of course there's also a coffee. Get yourself a Turkish coffee or a tea. And if you pee too much, you got a bathroom, and you also have a shower, but closed due to COVID. A little bit of an update from the Turkish lounge. A nice helping of vodka. So the bar is unmanned. But I just asked one of the workers if the bar was open, and she ran back there and got me what I needed. So, when you look at it, it looks closed, and I think that's kind of their goal, is so you don't ask. But so if you do come to this lounge and feel like the bar is closed, hey, why not? It's noon somewhere, right? So, not a bad lounge overall. The buffet, it's a breakfast buffet. It's got like a yogurt with different toppings, a Turkish egg, which is like a poached egg and a bunch of stuff. I don't know. It doesn't look like something I would eat. And then there's canned soft drink self-service. There is self-service Turkish coffee, Turkish tea, a flat and sparkling water stand. And then back in the other room, there's a little bit of another coffee machine back there. It does seem to be a little more like a cappuccino or, again, self-service. And then a full bar. Beer, spirits, and it's not cheap stuff, right? I mean, it's not the world's best, but absolute vodka. So it's not like a plastic bottle of vodka. So overall, decent service. The food selection in the morning is okay. Like I said, I know when there is Turkish Airlines flights, it does improve a bit for their premium customers.
And I did inquire about the upstairs area. It's exactly what it's for. It's for Turkish Airlines business class. It's like a private room upstairs, and they'll have somebody walking the room and getting people if they want something without having them, belabor themselves and walk down steps and get it themselves. So that premium treatment. So overall, if we rate this lounge, number one, they're open, which there we go, thanks. The accessibility, there is multiple options. The ones I know for sure is Priority Pass, Star Alliance Gold members, and it does appear they'll do cash entry, and there might be a couple other subscription plans. So whatever lounge pass you may have, just check their website. But really not a bad option for Dulles Airport. Food selection, it's decent. It's high end, right? It's not like packaged cereal, so it does feel premium. It's the morning, so we can't be too judgmental of it. So I'll give it a 4 out of 5 star for the food. The coffee and tea is higher than most, so that also helps with that score. The fact the bar is open also is why we get that 4 star. If that bar wasn't open, that would have knocked it down to a 3 out of 5 star. Cleanliness, it's fairly clean. There is some dishes just laying around. I do see, it appears to be 1 at the door working and then 3 roaming, but they are doing a really good job with the buffet. And looks like they make coffee for people if they asked. So they're doing something, which, okay. So we'll call this service 4 out of 5. Cleanliness, I'm going to give them a 3 out of 5 because there is more than you would hope of just dirty dishes laying around. The one thing I will knock them for is the bathrooms. There is 2 independent stall locking door rooms. I've been trying to go 3 or 4 times. They're both full. I think somebody's camping out in there, but whatever.
And for those of you who don't know, Turkish Airlines is probably one of the best airlines in Europe. They do have a premium long-haul international business class, not the best in the world, but really good. And also within Europe, they do have standard business class or first class seats versus what happens to a lot of other European airlines where you just get a middle seat block. So if you don't know about Turkish Airlines, you can get a lot of good flights out of the US to Europe connecting through Istanbul with even a stop in Istanbul. So something to consider. Little side tirade there of Turkish Airlines, but I am a fan.
All right, we're in Concourse B of Dulles Airport on a Saturday morning. It is 9:30 in the morning. Just left the Turkish Airlines lounge. Not a bad lounge at all. There was a Star Alliance flight that is getting ready to board, an Ethiopian Airlines flight to Addis Ababa. So the lounge had a lot of passengers from that flight in it. However, besides that, it was overpacked. But it's really the only lounge in this concourse that's open. Because we do have the Lufthansa Lounge that has COVID hours, which now doesn't open until noontime. And according to some websites, it's only the business class lounge and the Senator Lounge is not open. Not able to confirm that completely, but regardless, things are changing. A lot of things are starting to open back up. So it's not a bad idea to always check websites beforehand.
And Concourse B connects to Concourse A. There are some very nice gates in Concourse A as well. There's also some bad ones we'll look at in a moment. There's lounges in Concourse A. Here's the Air France KLM lounge. Was supposed to have access with Priority Pass, but unfortunately they were closed due to COVID. Really? Come on. And then as an American Express Platinum card holder, should have had access to the Virgin Atlantic Clubhouse. This was closed. It's just out of their normal operating hours. Now we're heading to gate A1A to A6E. I call these the penalty gates. These serve United Express aircraft, which are smaller regional jets that serve a lot of the East Coast and some flights that are extremely short, like to West Virginia, all from Virginia. So these gates have improved a bit over the years, but definitely are not a great place to experience the airport. The good news is, if you're flying United on these regional jets and your Star Alliance Gold, you are close to the Turkish or Lufthansa Lounge, and you should have access to that.
Okay, the dreaded gate A1A to A6E. It's not very crazy down here right now, but during the week when you have commuter business travels down here, This place is a third world country, and you have multiple flights leaving out of one gate. Like, if we look here, so this one gate could have 4 flights, and they're all going to be little turboprops or small jets. At least it's surprisingly dead down here. But yeah. And this is United's new little bullshit where they don't have real people, but you can talk online with somebody. All right, so this is the end of the A gates, and as you can see, it is, well, first of all, it's hot as hell in here, and it's not even a hot day. They have temporary air conditioners set up and fans, so clearly this place gets to be horribly hot. But yeah, these are like, it's not busy at all because it's a weekend and there's not much of these commuter feeder flights, but you're normally going to have smaller regional jets flying out of here, potentially a turboprop. And there's not much left in the fleet in terms of turboprops. So these are going to be CRJs, smaller type. So just know if you're flying out of here, and I do have to say, the last time I was here, there was a lot less. Here, there's at least some food options now. There's a Jersey Mike's and a fake British pub. So I think it's not as bad as I remember, but yeah. One thing I do sometimes, some people really like paper tickets. If you have an electronic boarding pass and you get through security with that, there's always these kiosks behind security that even if you already checked in, you just have to check in. So once you put in your frequent flyer number, it'll bring up your flight. It actually gives you other options, viewing the seat map, which is never a bad idea. Like right now I have a window seat on one of the flights. I'm not completely happy with that, but normally day of departure. So this is Dulles to Boston. Nothing to choose from. So I'll go to the next flight, Boston to Chicago. And same thing. There's a seat behind me. Yeah, but whatever. So nothing better. We'll keep it the way it is. You potentially also, depends on the fare of your ticket. Now, a lot of this you can do on the app. So if you're a fan of the app, great.
And at times it will give you the option to look for alternative flights. Now, this is based off of your fare class and your status, but here once we go through Pittsburgh, but flying these express carriers. So other airlines operating as United Express, I avoid them. Even though they're in first class, they're smaller planes, smaller seats, and not great service. They're free for me to change to them, but I don't want to deal with any of that. Pittsburgh, LaGuardia, or Cleveland, all are what are big no thank you. So we will keep that original itinerary. And you have the option to request a ticket receipt or a boarding pass. Sometimes I like to get printed boarding passes, just so at the boarding gate, I don't have to worry about having my phone out or if kill my phone battery. And if you have multiple boarding passes, they both will come out, especially if you're doing an international connection. Sometimes it's great to have that paper boarding pass. So yeah, these little machines are quite helpful, especially now that they don't have real people to help you in the airport currently.
All right, so we're leaving the penalty A gates. We're going to head over to the main United concourse, which is gates C and D, Charlie and Delta. Again, if you're flying out of these penalty A gates, it's not far from the lounges in B if you have Star Alliance Gold status. Otherwise, just know that you do have to take shuttles to go terminal to terminal on these guys, okay?
Now, at times, there are these people movers. They're like these shuttles. They're like portable lounges that operate right off of those A gates over to D, but they have a very strict schedule they follow, so that was currently closed. So I have to head back down to the train here, which is convenient. There is one on this end of the terminal as well. So down to the train, and then we will get off at the C gates.
So once you get off the train, no matter where you come from, the main terminal or B and A gates, it's a hell of a walk. So that's why I said don't cut it close. Don't think your train is going to dump you off right in the gates. You basically have to walk pretty decent. Go up a couple escalators, and then you're in C. And if you have a D gate, you have to walk even farther. So if you are going to lounge hop, don't wait till the last minute. You will screw yourself. Once again, this used to be a customer service counter, and they block it off, and they claim if you scan, you will talk to a live local agent that can help you out. Interesting concept. You do have the self-service machines normally located at these old customer service counters. There is a manned customer service counter up ahead, but it was packed. Here's where you take the people movers. So this would be D to the main terminal, that's operating, but D to A and B is not at this point. So that means you're going to have to go down and take the, either go to the main terminal, then backtrack, or walk all the way down to the train. It's a heck of a walk, so I would go to the main terminal. Let's take a look at the whole United, or actually the entire airport concourse. So put things into perspective here. There we are up there. And the lounges, the Lufthansa lounges and stuff were here. That's where we came on the train. And there's penalty gates. So what we did is we took the choo-choo train up to there, walked down, and walked all the way down to here. Normally you can take the people movers and move around. But yeah, it's going to vary by the time of the day and flight demand. So clearly they knew today's loads were light. So that's why a lot of the things aren't working. All right, so this is Concourse D at Dulles, and it is quiet this morning. I mean, even gates with active flights are just, not sure what that is. Even gates with flights are vacant. So this reminds me of the heart of COVID when I traveled. But yeah, so if you haven't been to Dulles in a while, they have freshened it up. They did get some new carpets, some fresh paint on the wall. But it's still that old school terminal, low ceiling, not ginormous gate area. It's very old, conventional style. But it's just the way it is. There's a lot better restaurants. There's a Pizza Hut, actually Chick-fil-A up ahead. There's sit-down restaurants. There's more specialty. There's the old stores that rip you off.
And then like a light switch, it got crowded. Like the terminal just filled with people. And this was my gate getting ready to board for Boston. This woman was so exhausted by the experience, she decided to lay down like a fool right in the middle of the boarding lanes. People were walking over her. Just a great example of a horrible human being. There she is right there. There was a minor delay in boarding, but not a huge deal. On board our Boeing 737 MAX 8 aircraft. I was in the second row of the first class cabin. And yeah, the boarding process worked. There's the captain making an announcement, and we were off. So a flight that takes a little bit over an hour flying up from Dulles to Boston. And yeah, it's a short flight, but not that short. But United Airlines in first class gave me this. A plastic bag with a bottle of water, a stroopwafel, and stale pretzels. Literally expired pretzels. Way to go, United. That was first class service. That was the drink I got. That's it. I'm in first class. So I asked the flight attendant, may I have an alternative beverage? I was told the flight's too short. Sorry. And I look back and I see them selling alcoholic beverages in economy. Again, this is all in the name of COVID. First class, come on, United. This is just ridiculous. After landing in Boston, went right up to the United Club, which is one level up. It's right across from my gate. A decent modernized lounge. And the food offerings weren't bad at all. Modern coffee machine, some pre-made coffee, some meat and cheese, some Boston cream pie. You may notice that Union Jack, they just started a direct flight from Boston to London. That's why that's there. Some salads and vegetables there for the taking. I was attracted by the pepperoni and cheese and, of course, the Boston cream pie. So that's what I went for with some Ritz crackers. There is a bar as well, complimentary alcohol. Got me a Blue Moon. So spent some time in the lounge and then went down to the gate to get my connection flight over to Chicago. The boarding experience wasn't bad. People actually follow directions in the boarding lanes, which is nice. So an on-time departure. And of course, at this point, I'm thinking, well, this is a longer flight. Will I get anything in first class? The crew, upon boarding, were greeting everyone. A very friendly crew, much better than my first flight. Same type of aircraft, 737 MAX 8. Not the same exact aircraft, just the same type. Have a window seat this time. Have some nice views. It's always nice to look out the window and see what's going on the apron. I did get a pre-departure beverage, which was some sparkling wine. Drank that as I enjoyed the view of some big international aircrafts from all over. And then it was time to roll down the runway, and I do have to say Boston, taking off from Boston is a very scenic takeoff. You're basically surrounded by water. As I speed the video up on a roll down the runway, this is a great opportunity to remind you to subscribe to Little Did You Know Travel, hit that like button, and leave comments below. Interaction is always great, but what a gorgeous takeoff out of Boston. And if you are an aviation geek, as you take off, you see the crossing runways and the planes taxiing around on the ground, and just that beautiful landscape surrounding the Boston area. So now that we were airborne, I needed to take my mask off to breathe. And by the way, right after my trip this Easter weekend, the mandate was lifted. I cheated anyway. Drinks were flowing. The crew was great and attentive. I had sparkling water with a side of vodka. Constant refills. A good example of what a crew should be doing in first class. But then the food was presented, and it was this nasty sandwich in a bag. Very dense bread with some weirdness upon it. As I attempted to stomach that sandwich, I did enjoy the views out the window, the beautiful puffy clouds flying by, on a very enjoyable flight from Boston to Chicago on United Airlines. But just as this episode is coming in for a landing, so did that flight. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click on that bell, and like this video. Do it as a favor for me. New episodes every Sunday, and at the end of the month, be on the lookout for some random live videos as I travel Europe. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Little Did You Know Travel. We'll see you next time.